How are
How
you
you
doing today?
doing? I'm great. It's always good to speak to like film lovers and film publications because I feel like I can speak in my language a little bit, you know?
Well, that's great to hear. I mean, I get a little nerve-wracked talking to people that make films, but it's always one of my favorite things to do. So I'm glad
Yeah.
you got a chance to speak to me.
Yeah.
Um, so I watched the film a few days ago. I didn't unfortunately I missed the showing at South by last year by just like a slim margin. As yeah, first time in Austin, so I gotta figure out the directions.
Yes,
But
I know. It's crazy at South by when it's your first time. I was like, whoa, lot going on.
but so that leads me into my first question, which is Scrambled. It premiered at South by last March. Your second film to premiere there, because your previous film that you wrote premiered there as well. What was it like to return to Austin to showcase your directorial debut?
It was epic. It truly felt like full circle in a way. I feel like South by gave me that start where I wasn't making a living as a filmmaker until South by happened for me. And then I feel like they gave me a career. In some ways, I feel like South by discovered me. And then from there, I was able to have this kind of unexpected career as a screenwriter that I did not see coming. Um, and I can like feed my cat and pay my rent. Suddenly I could pay my rent. I mean, it was really a huge blessing in my life. But then to sort of continue on into my career and realize that indie film is really where my heart is and that I wanted to wear the director's hat and to return to South by, I just feel eternally supported by South by, and I
That's
feel
great.
like they support me in all the crazy shit I want to do and when I want to try on new hats. I mean, it's kind of the dream. And so going back it felt like a really big full circle moment.
That's fantastic. Uh, so I absolutely love the film, and I felt it to be a very sincere film on every level. And I was just curious, because it's inspired by your own experience. What motivated you to explore this topic further in the eyes of a comedy?
Mm-hmm. I don't think I'm ever gonna do anything purely one genre. My favorite films are all they're genre bending. I think of Get Out. I think of um God, Back to the Future even, right? It's a
Yeah.
comedy. You're kind of you're there's a lot of genres that you're crying in Back to the Future. I always cry in Back to the Future. Even like my favorite show growing up was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'm very big on I was telling somebody earlier Thriller, the music video, was like the most formative piece of cinema of my life. And it's so many genres. You're laughing, it's horror, it's Vincent Price, it's a musical, there's zombies. I mean, it's just, there's werewolves. There's just so much in it. And that's kind of where my heart is like throwing a bunch of, like surprising the audience. I hope that when you come to my films, you get some surprises and you're laughing and then suddenly you don't know why you're tearing up a little bit or you're crying and you don't know why you're suddenly laughing. That's my like goal in life as a filmmaker, is to keep you on your toes a little bit emotionally. um and I think for me, my experience of egg freezing was quite dark at times, and but then ultimately liberating. It is a roller coaster in real life. So it felt very weird to make a movie that would have been purely any one emotion, because the whole thing was an emotional roller coaster. And it does in many ways reflect the real process of egg freezing.
Yeah, it's there's so many great moments in Scrambled that I you're correct. Like I was laughing really hard through some of it, and then especially at a certain point, I don't want to say where or when, but there's a certain point between you and your father, and it's such a great scene. Um,
Yeah.
and so I was curious. You have fantastic chemistry with all your co-stars. So when you were in the process of writing and in the process of casting, was there anybody in mind that you wanted when you were writing or in the process?
Yeah. I mean, I really wanted everyone that's in the film. I fought for this cast. You know, this cast doesn't
Yeah.
happen by accident. We're all texting. We've got Jonathan Levine, my producer, texting June Diane. I'm texting Yvonne Strahovski, getting Adam Rodriguez that I did, you know, Criminal Minds with. Lisa Zagoria, my casting director, is begging Clancy Brown. I mean, we are like, I'm an actor by trade. And to me, casting makes or breaks a movie, you know, I cannot hide if the movie doesn't work, like there's no hiding behind anybody. It's like, I wrote it, I directed it, I starred in it. So, and I'm an actor, so I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna fight for the best actors I can find. And I feel like we really did that. And we also really wanted actors that were down to do something like this, you know, because this isn't making anybody rich, you know. This isn't yet. We don't know yet. Maybe we're all
You
getting
never know.
but at the time it was the smaller movie, right? And so you really need what my casting director calls sandbox actors, which are actors that love to play and want to work and just are down to try shit. And they're not here to collect a paycheck because they could make more money elsewhere. And that was all my actors. And also it's a first time female director, you know, they're guinea pigs in a way. They're taking a chance on me. And I'm very blown away that we were able to pull together this level of talent, me being a first-time director. But I did beg, I will say. I definitely stalked Santino after his stand-up show and forced him to read my script. Like, you know, I definitely held a few guns to a few heads.
Yeah.
You know, definitely threatened some people's
Well, I think it worked to your advantage here.
it did.
So you've directed short films previously, and I was curious, the process of a short film versus your process with a feature film. Did all those short films before your feature directorial debut, did it prep you for the process?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm a big lover of short films. Short films are a true art form, and they are not easy. Let me tell you, people think, oh, it's just 10 minutes of feature film. No, it's got to have a beginning and a middle and an end. It's got to make sense as a short film. It will, if you just took 10 minutes out of a feature film script, everybody feels like, what did I just see? You know, it's not satisfying. So I'm a big proponent of filmmakers starting with short films and time in their career making a short film if they have an idea. It's amazing. And my first two short films really allowed me to see what it was like to star, to act and direct. So that was important to me to see if that was even something that I was capable of, or if I hated it, or if I was like, my brain can't like compartmentalize all the hats, I can't do it. And I found that I really enjoyed being able to mold the way that I was able to mold in the director's chair and mold other people's performances and really sort of get closer to my vision. So I'm really grateful for those films, but ultimately the big difference is the stamina that it requires to be in a feature. I will tell you that there were times, so many nights, I think probably especially like the second week it started, where I would shoot all day, I'm in every scene, and then I would watch my footage, you know, to just make sure we got it, you know, to see how things are going until I fell asleep. And I would be dreaming that I'm lying in bed and I'm kind of like trying to sleep pretty because I'm dreaming that there's cameras on me at all times. So even when I'm sleeping, I still think my unconscious thinks that I'm on camera. So it was like, it got really wonky and you're all over the place and your brain is struggling to separate real life and the movie. But I think that's what it is. A short film, you can usually shoot it within a week. A feature film, you're going to need a month or more. But if you love your film as much as I loved my script and my story, and I'm as determined as I was, you got all the energy.
Yeah, that's fantastic to hear. Basically, one of my favorite types of films, it can be all throughout the history of film, is a coming of age tale, and this is at its heart a coming of age tale for.
Yeah.
And I was just curious, when it's clearly influenced by your personal experiences. But I'm curious, as far as the writing and the structure of the film, if there was any particular films or television shows that influenced your writing here.
I only heard half of your question because you just reminded me that I had a tagline for the poster that I forgot to pitch, and it was supposed to be a coming of aged with a D at the end.
That's good.
Oh, Connor, you had made me think of it like literally too late. Damn it. I'm still gonna pitch it. Coming of aged. Anyway, sorry. What was the second part of your question?
Oh, if there was any particular films or television shows that influenced your writing or your directorial style.
Oh my gosh. So much, so much. You know, I'm a big Julia Ducournau fan. Raw, Titane.
Yeah.
And I reference those. I mean, I'm a big horror buff, but I reference those because she's so brave. She's just talk about her first film was called Raw. Like, she's so raw. And Lena Dunham, Making Girls, Amy Schumer, and Tiny Furniture, Amy Schumer, Trainwreck, Expecting Amy Schumer, her documentary. Like, I am so inspired by women that seem fearless. So that I feel like the only way to really, there was a version of this movie that could have been, you know, PG-13 and maybe it was a little bit more mainstream, and you know, they would have needed to get in earlier to convince me to do that. But I really admire the women that just kind of let it all hang out, because as we know, we can be easily criticized for taking up too much space, being too loud, being too open, being too honest. But it's you don't, you know, well-behaved women seldom make history. So I really admire those women that have paved the way.
That's a fantastic answer. I really I don't have any more questions set right now. So I just want to just quickly tell you how much I did really love the film, and I can't wait to see it again.
Wait, so tell me, what did you cry? Was it the final scene with Dad?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
in the
at the fridge. Yep.
I know, isn't he so amazing in that scene?
He is. Yeah, I'm a huge Clancy Brown fan, so that was yeah, it was so great. And I was telling my brother the other day, I'm like, you have to check this out, because I always forget his name, unfortunately, but he always represents him as is the actor that plays your brother in the film.
Santino,
And
Andrew
yeah,
Santino.
Santino, thank you. I'm terrible with names, but yeah, I was just like, you love him, you gotta check this movie out. So and that's just what I'm gonna keep doing. I'm just gonna keep motivating people to check it out, because
Yeah.
it's worth people seeing. So
Connor, it's really meaningful to me that you say that, to hear that a man is suggesting my film about fertility to another dude makes me feel like I have succeeded in some really valuable way. So I'm really grateful to you for telling me that. Thank you.
and you have a great day.
Thank you, Connor.